Frank Jr. and his family live in this house. And in this house lives Maysel, Grandpa's daughter, with her husband, Al Bridges. Al and Maysel have 3 daughters, the youngest, Allison, and Valerie. Their oldest daughter, Suzette, lives here with her husband, Sid Mills, and the baby, Poughton. And then there's Herman Johns, better known as Curly, another of Bill Frank's grandchildren. This is the family that lives at Frank's Landing. During the summer, they work at various jobs, frequently in neighboring berry fields and tree farms. But when autumn comes and the salmon start running, Bill Frank's family, like all their ancestors, set their nets for fish. They smoke some for themselves and they sell some, even as their ancestors did when they traded dried salmon for articles from the interior. Now, one thing is different than it used to be. Now, when they set their nets in the evening, the game wardens sit and watch from the other side of the river.
No jurisdiction on this property. There's no court to tell that you have jurisdiction on this property.
We were arrested. That is illegal. We're going to have to see that just
Why did they?
Hey, Sidney, you're under arrest.
My father and Sid were arrested off the landing here. So the following day, to let them know that we weren't going to quit fishing, Ellison and I, my younger sister, set a net up there at the trestle, about a mile and a half from here, upriver.
In 1854, Territorial Governor Isaac Stevens made treaties with all the Indians in Washington. The Indians gave up all claims to the land in the territory except for special areas reserved to them. In return, they were to receive payments and were promised that they and their descendants would always have the right to fish in their usual and accustomed grounds. Valerie Bridges grew up learning how to fish here on the Nisqually, where her grandfather fished.
Valerie, you heard when your grandfather told of a white man who came with promises of gold, saying, sell us the land that lies under the sun. You'll live free as long as the rivers run, as long as the rivers run.
We set the net and waited for the state. We're just going to let them know that we're not going to quit fishing. We have this fishing right. It's a treaty, supreme law of the land under their constitution. And we're not going to give up our fishing rights. There are treaties throughout the United States being broken. That's really what it is, a treaty we're fighting for. Treaties throughout the United States. We resisted when they did try to take our net because it is our property, and not only protecting our property, but ourselves, because we too have been clubbed, night raids, tear gassed, and we're getting sick and tired of it.
He promised us gold. He promised us grain, he promised us houses safe from the rain. He said that his words could not be undone, but would last for as long as the rivers run, as long as the rivers run.
A lot of people have
asked, how long I've been involved in this, or my family. And I go back to when my little girl was 2.5 years old, my youngest girl.
Get some sort of justice.
And then in 1964, we just said, well, we're not moving no more. And one of the first things we did was to organize a Indian organization. And this is what we did. We called ourselves the Survival American Indian Association. And our main goal and purpose of this organization was to fight for treaty rights. And from that time on, the fight has been building up, and gradually it's really, taken up our full time.
In 1968, the Survival Organization enlisted the support of sympathetic young people to help keep a 24-hour guard on the nets of the Indian fishermen, because if the nets and boats were unguarded, they would be stolen by fishermen or destroyed by sportsmen.
If you want something and if it's yours, you've got to fight to keep. And our people just aren't grasping this idea. They think that one of these days the government's going to feel sorry for them and give them what they want. This isn't so. So we have these young kids today. Right now they see what's happening to the Indians, so they come forward to offer their help, and we've accepted their help.
Fishermen and sheriff deputies came at night, making arrests and seizing nets, but the young people held on. As fall turned into winter, they built temporary shelters and lived in them. Buffy St. Marie visited the encampment. To dramatize the fishing rights, the Frank Landing encampment moved into Olympia and set a net at the mouth of the dam where there is a fish ladder. The fishery officers and police responded, giving the public a chance to see the kind of action that usually takes place under the cover of night on the Nisqually River. Come gather round me and I'll sing you a song. I'll tell you a story of people that were strong. We live with nature in harmony, obeying the laws that were taught to me. Greeting a stranger with an open hand, sheltered and fed him and called him friend. Once I was wild as the eagle in the sky, free to love and to live and to die. I roamed this land from the mountains to the sea, brother to the elk, the bear and the deer. Up the river, the lakes, and the redwood tree. This was my land as far as I could see. I had no jails nor prison farm, no barbed wire to do me harm. I paid no one to rule over me. No one owned the shade of the tree. Lewis announced he would not go back to the army. Instead, he remained at Frank's Landing and married Suzette. A year later, dozens of cases were still in court. The survival of American Indian Association was broke. So once again, the family at Frank's Landing was alone on the Nisqually River. The day came that Al, Sid, Valerie, and Allison were all in jail. Suzette had just had a baby, Houghton. So Maysel Bridges and Norma Frank were left to fish by themselves.
Nut is illegal gear and it's going to be taken.
You'll have to take us with it, because we're not letting you go fishing under the Medicine Creek Treaty, and
You
we're
are
both
not.
all members. We are too.
You're poaching is what you're doing.
We're not either. You're the one that's poaching. You're the one that's encroaching on our land.
Hook that in.
We're not taking this net. This is the last net we got.
Both under arrest for fishing and cold water.
And then something happened that was